Hello everyone, I'm the FC. This is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the match review of our 4-1 win over Cardiff. You guys, we make it 5 wins on the bounce. It's been a great start for Sarri, but before I get straight into the match review, I just want to make that point, and the point I want to make is, you know what? I've been saying this constantly. When it comes to football, it's not about having 11 individual players that are world class. It's about having a system that really complements their strengths and their abilities. And you guys, we're finally seeing the likes of Hazard, Pedro, Willian, etc, playing in a system that suits their style and play. And this is why it looks like they've gone to another level. It's not because they've gone to another level or they got better in the space of a World Cup campaign. No, they've always had this ability, but it's always been the systems they've played in which have really hampered what they could really do in a game. Sarri's come, and the reason why I really wanted this guy to sign for us is the fact that I knew that he would unlock the team and he'd have these players playing to their fullest potential. And that's what's happening, you guys. Sarri ball is here, football is here, and we're looking like a top class team again. But you guys, getting straight into the match review, starting with the lineup, and the only difference with the lineup today was the fact that Olivier Giroud did start over Morata. And I'm going to be speaking about this decision later on, and for the 5 talking points video tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about this in much greater detail. But yes, you've got the simple answer. It did pay off today. But I'm really going to delve into how exactly this did pay off. But you guys, getting straight into the game. And to be honest, you know, Warnock really was correct. He was true with what he was saying. Cardiff did come to really play with a much more positive style of football compared to a lot of teams we've seen so far this season. And of course, you know, they were causing us some issues. It was a bit of a competition during those first 15 minutes. The Cardiff players were confident to press high and to press high with numbers on top of that as well. And as I said in the match preview, they looked for any opportunity on the counter-attack to flood men forwards. And it took 15 minutes for the first goal to come. Bamba scored from a set piece, and to be honest, Cardiff are good when it comes to creating set piece opportunities. And in a way, I felt that the team looked pretty confused in terms of what they had to do, because normally these players do use a man-marking style, and it seemed today that they were using more of a zonal style when it came to defending. And I think there was confusion in that sense. You know, for so many times players were getting caught underneath aerial balls. Of course, Luis, it happened to him once, it happened to Rudiger, and it happened to Alonso for the first goal as well. So they were all pretty unfortunate in that sense. And again, I keep stressing this all the time. When Sarri's talking about getting the team really perfecting the system, he's talking about defensively, where it's going to take more time for the players to really understand how to fully maximise their high pressing and to get their defensive positioning on point as well. But Cardiff definitely did capitalise over that, and it was pretty unfortunate in the sense that we did concede the first goal. And Cardiff really did benefit from having that brave approach during the game. And here were some of the good things that Cardiff City were actually doing. Now, of course, they did use their 4-4-2 with Reed, their new signing. Of course, he was able to actually drop into midfield at times to help out defensively. He works very hard, and he's a pretty decent player on top of that as well. As I predicted, Cardiff did use their 4-4-2, especially as they used that same formation against Arsenal, and it really did help them. Now here are some of the things that Cardiff were doing. Number one, they were focusing all of their attacks in those wide areas, and there was some common sense in doing this. Number one, remember, as I was saying in that match preview, Cardiff like to create a lot of direct vertical passes, so it is natural that they are going to be playing out wide, where they are able to put in crosses and to really play those long passes to the strikers. Cardiff rarely play through midfield, and there was some common sense in this on top of that as well, and that was down to the fact that if they're focusing all of their attacks out wide, it means that they can keep their shape and not become too exposed on the counter-attack. And you guys, if you remember one thing I did say that Cardiff will probably have a good spell of about 15 to 20 minutes in this game. Yes, I was correct, and their time was up after the first goal, to be honest. It was as if something woke up in the players, and they really started to really pick up the intensity and really pick up the performance as well. And of course, you know, when you're Cardiff and you're pushing men forwards, even if you are keeping some structure in the middle of the pitch as well, what you're inevitably going to be doing is you're going to be creating space between the lines, and you can't afford to do that with Chelsea anymore. You can't have guys like Kovacic or Hazard or Pedro operating in those spaces, or even Olivier Giroud when he drops deep as well. And of course, they were going to pay the price for that. Now, for this part, even though, yes, there were some chances, number one, Kovacic, I don't understand how he missed that chance in front of goal after some brilliant football. Great build-up with Hazard and Giroud, but it doesn't really matter. I thought his performance was decent in that regards, but you guys, it then became the Eden Hazard show, and the equaliser that Eden Hazard scored, my God, what a world-class goal. He started the move, and he finished it. Great link-up play. Great play by Olivier Giroud as well. And let's be serious, that's something we wouldn't see Morata doing. And I really think that that was really the most interesting thing on this game. And this is why for the 5 talking points video tomorrow, I'm really going to be talking about Olivier Giroud and Morata and doing a bit of a comparison between them. Because in that sense, if Morata was playing, I think we have to be pretty realistic at the fact that we wouldn't have created some of the chances we did create, thus meaning that we wouldn't have scored the chances that we did create because Morata wouldn't have played those passes into Hazard. And the second most important thing is we wouldn't see Hazard actually playing so central as well, and that's a great thing that Giroud does bring. And in a sense, it does kind of remind me of that relationship between Benzema and Ronaldo. We know that Benzema is that target man, deep lying forward for Real Madrid that used to really play in Ronaldo a lot of times, and he kind of sacrificed his position in that sense of scoring goals to really help and assist him. And I kind of think, let's be serious, Giroud is never going to be someone that gets you 20 goals a season, but if this guy can keep playing in guys like Pedro, Willian and Hazard, then I think we have to turn this discussion to, should this guy be starting over Morata and should he be our first choice striker? And of course, right before the first half did end, we managed to make it 2-1. Another goal from Eden Hazard. Again, another assist from Olivier Giroud. As I'm stating, we just wouldn't see Morata creating those same opportunities that Giroud does bring. And playing in this system under Sarri, where it's completely different to Conte. You know, Giroud, again, he's not a great goal scorer, but when he's got these guys playing close to him, it's going to help out a lot. And I noticed too that with Giroud playing up front, it actually allowed Hazard to actually drift infield way more and test the keeper way more. I mean, how many times do you see Hazard taking shots on goal like we saw today? And I definitely believe that this was all down to Olivier Giroud. Of course, it was a bit lucky how the goal did go in, but again, Hazard was in that area, which is good to see, and he made it 2-1. But you guys, moving on to the second half, and we had the first substitution of the game pretty early. That's around the 48th minute. Kovacic actually goes off with a slight knock. Ross Barkley comes on. I'm not going to be criticising Ross Barkley because, to be honest, even though he did nothing bad, he didn't really do anything spectacular as well. So there really isn't much to say about Ross Barkley. But of course, with how the game was being played in the second half, it was slightly disappointing during that first 15-20 minutes before Willian came on. It felt like we were off the pace a tiny bit. We were keeping possession for the sake of it. There wasn't too much intensity in our game or in our play as well. And it was kind of getting a bit slow and a bit tepid. But before I talk about Willian's introduction, I need to talk a bit about Pedro. As I keep saying, you know, Pedro playing in a system that's got the best out of him, which has definitely taken me by surprise. But again, I'm never afraid to admit when I'm wrong. But with Pedro playing in the system, it's as if you're seeing the Pedro from Barcelona. And his performances, I mean, his overall performances, not just the goals or the assists he's getting, but his overall play is just much better than I've ever seen from Pedro. So I definitely think that he needs to get credit for that. It was another good performance from him today. But anyway, moving straight on to Willian. And again, I think his introduction was very good. Now, what I love about Willian's introduction is mostly down to Sarri, and that's the fact that Sarri likes to make substitutions that continues the intensity of the game. How many times under Conte where we're controlling the game, we're winning it, then he'll make a defensive substitution with about 30 minutes of the game to go. We'll sit back and park the bus for no reason, relieving all control of the game we had beforehand. And it was just like, why are we doing this? And I think that with Sarri, he definitely isn't about that life. He's saying, you know what? You're playing my brand of football. You're playing my style of football. You guys are keeping up your intensity. I don't want you guys slacking off. And this is why he makes so many early substitutions as well. And he always makes it at the right time. I'm starting to notice a bit too that Pedro can't really keep up his intensity over 90 minutes. But I think with the quality of the bench we have, it's not really too much of a big deal. And I think that Willian definitely had something to show. And I really feel that this is why he looked kind of invigorated during the game when he came on. I mean, number one, he wins the penalty for Eden Hazard. Hazard gets his hat-trick, of course. People doubting whether Jorginho might take it. I mean, do people not understand Hazard wasn't playing in those games? Of course, Hazard's always going to be the first choice penalty taker. Took it expertly as usual. Got his first hat-trick of the season. Hopefully, the first of many more to come. And of course, Willian then has to contribute on top of that as well. He makes it 4-1 with a great effort top right corner. And in that sense, it's kind of unfortunate from Cardiff. But as I'm saying, with Cardiff, it's always come down to making individual mistakes. And obviously conceding wonder goals. I mean, look at the goals that Arsenal scored against them beforehand. Giving away a sloppy penalty too. It's a bit unfortunate, but I think that they gave a decent account of themselves. I don't know if the players will take this defeat too personally, but it doesn't matter. But anyway, you guys, making it 4-1. Just a fantastic performance to see. And, we're keeping up this pattern of continuing to score goals later on. And this comes down to Sarri. Because this guy's always emphasising the point to keep up the intensity. This is why we still continue to create chances right at the end of games. It's not like how it used to be under previous managers where they never cared about what happens in the final 20 minutes, which is great to see as fans because, again, it's like we're getting our money's worth. And we're seeing guys like Hazard getting a hat-trick, which is great. And, getting subbed off right after he scores his hat-trick, as it should be. Not getting subbed off after he scored 2 goals and he's close to getting his hat-trick like Conte was doing last season. One thing I'll never ever understand why Conte did that, but I don't want to talk about that guy. Sarri actually brings on Zappa Costa instead. Now, people are actually thinking, why is he playing as a winger? Doesn't really matter in that sense. So he purely came on because he's going to be starting against PAOK on Thursday, and it was purely about getting that match fitness ready. But you guys, the intensity, the football, I mean, some of the football on show today, that quick one-touch passing was phenomenal to see. And I've got to give credit to guys like GIROUD and Pedro who have definitely shown a different side of their game. But as I did say, and you guys, you can't pretend I never said this, I kept saying that under Sarri, we're going to see a lot of players really showing things they haven't shown beforehand because of the great man management and the great system. And we're seeing guys like Giroud and Pedro prosper from that, and Willian on top of that as well. So it is great to see you guys. But anyway, that's going to end today's match review. We did beat Cardiff City 4-1. Great to see. Before I go, you guys, if you want to do me a massive favour, please click on the download link to the OneFootball app. Make sure you download that. Every time you guys download the app, it actually gets tracked from OneFootball. So the more downloads I get, it means I can get another campaign. And of course, it is decent money for the channel. It does help support what I do. So if you guys love the content, please, please, please download that OneFootball app. You guys, I'm going to bounce. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'm excited for Thursday, you guys. Thank you, Uncle Sorry. I'll see you guys later.